I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, and let's focus on verses 44 and 45. Yet in spite of this, while they are in the land of their enemies, I will not reject or abhor them, so as to destroy them and break my covenant with them, since I am the Lord their God. For their sake I will remember the covenant with their fathers, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the nations to be their God. I am the Lord. Leviticus 26, once again, verses 44 and 45. Recently, I was posed this question from some friends in Hawaii who receive our daily devotionals. Do the Jewish people believe in the same God as the Christians? The question stems from a great theological debate, which suggests that since non-believing Jews, that is, Jews that don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah, since they have rejected Jesus, they are not accepting the wholeness of God. Thus, the God whom non-believing Jews accept is not the same God as the God that the Christians believe in. And by not receiving the Trinity or the triunity of God, that He exists in three persons, they definitely do not understand Him as they should, and as He designates for all people to know Him. Now consider the New Testament book of John, chapter 14, verse 6. Jesus said to Thomas, I am the way and the truth and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. Now this is the Messiah speaking of Himself, speaking of His deity. Or how about Acts chapter 4, verse 12? Nor is there salvation in any other, for there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved. So whether Jew or Gentile, accepting the Messiah, Jesus, is essential. It's the essential component of salvation. The first chapter of John speaks clearly of Jesus' deity. And in that sense, knowing who Jesus is brings the essential understanding of who God is. But since Jesus is a member of the Trinity, wasn't He present when God spoke these words to Moses in today's chapter? Obviously He was. Obviously the Christian understanding of Israel's understanding of God takes a back seat to God's understanding of His own plan for the redemption of Israel and the redemption of the nations as well. This was the basis for Paul's message to the Roman believers, who consisted of both Jewish and Gentile believers. Consider this from Romans chapter 11, verses 11 through 15. I ask then, have they, speaking of Israel, stumbled so as to fall? Absolutely not. On the contrary, by their stumbling, that is the rejection of Jesus, salvation has come to the Gentiles to make Israel jealous. Now, if their stumbling brings riches to the world, and their failure riches to the Gentiles, how much more will their full number bring? Now I am speaking to you Gentiles in view of the fact that I am the apostle to the Gentiles. I magnify my own ministry if I can somehow make my own people jealous and save some of them. For if their being rejected is world reconciliation, what will their acceptance mean but life from the dead? Once again, Romans 11, verses 11 through 15. God's covenant with Israel is with those who by faith believe. His faithfulness is the foundation for the security of our salvation. Perhaps a more important question then, do the Jews believe in the same God as the Christian, is this question: does the God of all creation keep His covenants, that He continues to fulfill His promises to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob through the Messiah, Jesus? Because Scripture testifies that He did. And that's exactly what we're reading about here. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Check us out at groundworksministries.com.